Good evening, fellow colleagues, the residents in the audience, and those in media land. Call this meeting to order on November the 20th here in the Eugene James Auditorium. Let's take the roll call. Unanimous. We're all in present. Madam Clerk? Mr. Attorney, Brian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the interest of preserving public confidence in the actions of the board, do any of the board members have any known conflicts of interest at this time?
None registered. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We now have, please stand for our invocation by Commissioner Ann Floyd Huggins. First, Pitt County District.
Okay, thank you. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We ask for your blessing, your guidance, and whatever we do, and all the decisions that we make in the best interest of your people of Pitt County. These and all blessings we ask in your son Jesus' name. Say amen.
Amen. I now invite Mr. Walt Moore to the podium for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Now, I want you all to know that we have problems seeing all the way to the back. The lights are brightening in our eyes, so we'll people. Please, state who you are and what you want to say.
I'm Walt Moore, a senior at North Pitt High School. I'm currently the student body president of North Pitt. I'm president of the North Pitt FFA chapter, as well as the North Carolina FFA Northeast region. And I am an Eagle Scout with Troop 49 of Tarboro, North Carolina. Thank you for having me this evening. At this time, could everybody please stand, face the flag, and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. You may be seated.
Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Madam Chair, motion to approve the agenda with the addition of closed session for personnel, item 14.
Seconded. We have a motion by Commissioner Nunley that we add closed session to the agenda, second by Commissioner Beth Ward. Let's vote. We all in agreement. Madam Clerk? There will be, please add the closed session on your agendas, Mr. and Ms. Commissioners. What pen? Oh, there it is. Thank you. Public address to the board, Madam Manager.
Yes, we have one person signed up for public addresses, Miss Edna.
Ms. Edna, please come to the podium.
Madam Will, Commission Board, people at large.
How about pulling the mic down a little bit? There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make a brief statement on Thanksgiving. It's a day. We see another Thanksgiving come around. What a blessing. In the beginning was the Word, and it was Thanksgiving in the beginning. And I go way back before I was ever born, thanking God, thanking God. You know, I thank Him with supplication of thanksgiving daily and nightly. I thank and praise God.
Thank you.
Praise God. And I just want to say that, praise God. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Well, I guess I just come to a close
Thank
with
you.
it. But God is good, and we just celebrate His giving, His goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping it sweet.
The remainder are signed up for the public hearing, and so we'll call those at the appropriate time.
All right. We have now presentation.
If we can go down front, and while we're going down front, if the board would approve the recognition of
Please,
Eagle Scouts.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Nunley, seconded by Commissioner Ward. Please vote. Yes.
And if Pamela Johnson will come forward. Stand right on the black spot, on the black spot. Yes, that puts you in the right spot for television. I'm pleased to present Pamela Johnson with the Register of Deeds this evening, a certificate of recognition for being named the Employee of the Month for the month of November. And we, in our County Connection, congratulated Pamela Johnson. She was selected for her hard work and dedication. She began offering passport services in the Register of Deeds office some time ago. She took on this role and completed the required courses and training needed to provide a service that had not been previously provided by the Register of Deeds office. She's made the project extremely successful with her commitment to the citizens of Pitt County since she started this journey. And since then, and this number at this point is even larger than it is now, has processed over 1,808 passports in Pitt County since it started. She has been since 2020 as a Deputy 2 in Vital Records and also serves as the Passport Manager for the Register of Deeds. She also led the agency through a successful first passport fair last week. That was a tremendous, tremendous success.
Yes, ma'am.
So with that, we have a certificate to present to you that reads, Certificate of Recognition, Employee of the Month, November 2023, presented to Pamela Johnson, Register of Deeds, in recognition of your dedication and exemplary service to Pitt County government and the citizens that we serve. And included in it is a receipt of your $100 check to thank you for that. And the chairwoman wants to
Would you
present.
like to say something? Got such a bright smile.
Well, everybody in the Pitt County Register of Deeds tries really hard to help the citizens of Pitt County and any surrounding areas. And I'm just very thankful that we were able to add the passport acceptance facility to the Pitt County Register of Deeds to help the citizens.
Thank you for your vision.
Thank
We're
you.
ready.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, you are great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Appreciate your service. Madam Manager?
Yes, our next item on the agenda is to recognize 4 Eagle Scouts. And if we would have Commissioner McLawhorn come down and
Please
join
join
us
us.
for this, and Miguel Morales to come forward.
We
And if
have
you want to
our
bring your
only
family,
scout.
you're welcome to do that as well.
Mr. Commissioner Scout, please join us.
You can come right forward, Miguel, right here in the center, and your family can join around the side. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to be recognized for attaining your Eagle Scout rank. And it is an incredible and special accomplishment to be recognized by the Board of Commissioners. And it's my pleasure to present you with a certificate that reads Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Miguel Morales for achieving the Eagle Scout Award. His project was that he built storage cubicles for the Greenville Wrestling Club. Presented to you this 20th day of November 2023 by the Pitt County Board of Commissioners, signed by Mary Perkins Williams, Chairwoman to the Board of Commissioners. She will present this to you, and then our fellow commissioner,
We'll let our only scout on the board. give you a
Melvin
handshake.
McLawhorn, is also an Eagle Scout, and he'll present that to you.
On behalf of the East Carolina Council, the Boy Scouts of America, and the Pitt County Commissioners, we'd like to say we're proud of you. And a job well done. We know that Eagle Scouts is the highest award that you can achieve. And you did it, and we're proud of it. And if anything you would like to say in accepting this award?
Thank you all for coming. I'm beyond humbled to receive this kind of appreciation. It was a very daunting task, and just being up here has made it all worth it. And I just thank you all for your time being here.
Okay, let's close in a
Excellent.
little bit so we can get this family portrait right
Get
in
in
here.
for a picture.
And please
And are
put
you
the
the
little one
trips?
in here.
Okay, perfect. We'll get this picture and then stay right where you are, and then
Stay
we'll
right
present
there.
yours next.
Now, wait a minute. Make sure we get him in. He didn't like me taking you taking it. Okay, how about that? See your brother over there? Smile. Camera.
Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Morales. Okay, and you may be seated. Our second recipient this evening, if Gabriel Lucas Tripp, if you want to come right over here to the center with your father, that's fine, or with whom you brought.
Next to the manager.
Gabriel Lucas Tripp also received a Certificate of Appreciation awarded to him for achieving Eagle Scout Award. His project was that he constructed and installed a law enforcement center at Eastern Pines Church and refurbished the playground. And this is presented by the Pitt County Board of Commissioners on the 20th day of November, 2023, signed by the Chairwoman Mary Perkins Williams, Pitt County Board of Commissioners, and presented to you by another Eagle Scout, Commissioner Melvin McLaughlin.
Again, congratulations to you. Job well done. On behalf of the Pitt County Board of Commissioners and the East Carolina Council, the Boy Scouts of America, I present this to you. Anything you would like to say? So that's
Okay, we'll
Okay,
scooch in
let's
for a
close
picture.
in. There's the camera right there. You see it? Wonderful. He didn't want to say anything. But he has a wonderful smile.
so
You're not
much.
going to talk? All right.
Thank you so much.
Is that it?
That's great.
You be seated.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Not
we're
present
gonna
with
read.
us this evening, but to be recognized is Connor Jablu for achieving Eagle Scout Award. His project was that he installed fencing and a flagpole at People's Baptist Church. And then also Gavin Jublo for achieving Eagle Scout Award, and his project was that he built a large fire pit and arena at the refuge.
Let's give them both a hand. Thank you. Thank them. We thank the Boy Scouts for all they do for the citizens.
And that concludes our presentations this evening.
We now have a public hearing. I declare the public hearing for, oh, James got to present. I was helping you along.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We do have one rezoning request for your consideration tonight during a public hearing, but first up, we'll go through a staff report to give you a little bit of insight as to what's being requested. This is a rather large rezoning request in terms of acreage. We're looking at close to 940 acres being rezoned from rural agricultural to rural agricultural conditional district, and expressly for the use as a solar farm. There are several parcels involved, and this is all just to the east of the town of Grifton, along East Hanrahan Road, Brown Hodges Road, Stokestown, St. John's, all in that general vicinity, and I'll show you a map in just a minute. This is not a new request before you in some respects, in that some of these same, or one of these same parcels, one of the larger ones, was included in another request about 3 years ago. That particular development was never constructed. It is no longer a valid request or a proposal, and therefore this one has been brought forward as a new development with some additional acreage. So again, to orient you a bit, this is just to the east. You'll see here with the red star, just to the east of the town of Grifton. I'll highlight also this shaded area here, kind of in the pink color, is a very large solar farm that's already in operation just outside of the area we're talking about tonight. So this is part of the area that you'll be looking at tonight. This is about 940 acres. And again, East Hanrahan Road here, along with 118 in the red line here coming outside of Grifton to the east. We do have a brand new land use plan, as most of you are aware, and this particular area of the county is considered as agricultural. And so there are some prime farmlands in the vicinity, and most of the activities that we see within this particular category are intended for low density and agricultural type uses. So where exactly is this category to be found? It's all around the county, but strategically along some of these agricultural lands and their surrounding areas. Those are the types of uses you'll see, everything from agribusiness to forestry to some limited commercial as well, with some residential in very low density. Most of the utilities here are going to be those for the individual lots, typically septic systems and some community wells or community water service. And generally the density, very low density, 1 dwelling unit per acre or less. So a little bit more detail about this particular request. You're used to seeing our existing land use survey. Anytime you see the gold colors, especially along here, East Hanrahan Road, those are residential lots. There are a few scattered around also in close proximity towards the southern end of this requested area. This area is also blanketed as far as zoning is concerned with rural agriculture. You'll see just very limited at some of the crossroad areas or just outside the town, some commercial in red. Otherwise, all rural agriculturally zoned. And again, this matches very closely with what we just talked about with the land use plan and should. The rural agricultural district is primarily intended for low density residential and some low intensity commercial type uses. So this is the request before you tonight, the conditional district for the specific use of a solar farm. And we'll get into some of the development standards in a minute as well. These are the ones that are actually cited within the zoning ordinance proper, but you also have the opportunity tonight as a conditional district of adding any additional conditions tonight, provided that the petitioner agrees to such. So just as a reminder, you've seen these solar farms requests before. Minimum setbacks, there are several. We've got 50-foot setback from the property lines, 100-foot from any residence, so depending on where the house is located on some of those lots. There are some facilities involved, these inverters. They do make some humming type noises, therefore that separation's a bit further away, 150 foot from any of those uses or property lines. Maximum height, and then all the submittal requirements. And most of that information is in your package tonight, everything from the site plan to lease agreements. Also, this energy, once it is actually generated, has to be fed back into the grid, the power grid. So there is evidence in your package tonight of the utility interconnection. And most times, many of you are concerned about the decommissioning of this once this particular use goes away or its life has been had. The decommissioning plans and cost estimate are included in your package as well. A lot of other information, screening and buffering, underground electrical wiring, and so forth included. So let's look specifically at the request. This is the 940 acres. Show you the northern part first, and again, this is just south of East Hanrahan Road, and a lot of the property along it is residential. So here's your boundary. Wetlands, there are some wooded areas of wetland involved, and those are not allowed to be disturbed during this process of development. So the solar panels will go outside of that area, shown here in yellow. Inverters, again, there is a process of converting the energy. I won't get into all the specifics, but it has to be changed or transformed to go into the grid. This is what the inverters are here for, and they're scattered throughout the development as well. And those are the ones that have to be set back at least 150 feet. There's a substation to be constructed on the site, also a construction laydown area on the southern part of this top portion. There is an overhead utility line on the top portion as well as the southern portion. Similarly, areas here that will be included with some wetlands. Also, there are several drainage laterals that run through this area. Floodplain just on one corner of it, and that's where your solar panels, where you'll actually see the construction of those going in, your inverters, as well as the overhead utility lines, and that's where it will tie into the grid. There are drainage laterals throughout this area. Those will also need to be protected, especially the easement areas that are associated with those drainage features. So one of the main concerns that was had during the planning board's review was areas adjacent to residential development and ensuring there was screening and additional separation between the new uses and the residential uses. So with that, we'll go through just what that means as far as our zoning regulations and what is being proposed, along with some additional conditions that the petitioner has agreed to. So first up, there is some existing vegetation. Those lines around the perimeter show those areas, and that vegetation is to be kept intact. There's also some existing vegetation on adjacent properties that can be utilized as part of the screening and buffering, and that's shown here in green. Then comes in the proposed minimum requirements by the zoning ordinance, that's shown in red, and this is the embellished plan or landscaping plan that the petitioner has agreed to, and you can see kind of in the pink area here, especially along East Hanrahan Road, that area is going to be a broader, about 20 feet in depth, that will have additional screening and buffering planted within that area. Similarly, on the southern side, there's your existing vegetation, also existing vegetation on adjacent properties, minimum screening, and then you can see they're very scattered, just a few residential areas on the southern part, and those areas also have the enhanced or embellished screening area. So as far as recommendations, planning staff does agree that this is consistent with the land use plan, and that it is reasonable and in the public's interest. Again, I mentioned there's existing solar farms adjacent to there, along with some of the screening and buffering that we've already talked about as well. Planning board has reviewed this, and along with some of the changes, additional conditions, voted 10-0 in favor of recommending approval for this. So you do have two motions before you, if you agree with staff and the planning board, and then also the second motion would be to approve the rezoning request as we addressed earlier. And there are some additional conditions. Those were included in your package tonight. That includes the embellished landscape buffer detail plan, also soil erosion plans, and a few other items. And Madam Chair, that's all we have for staff report before opening your public hearing, unless you have questions.
Declare that the public hearing is now open. Are there any signatures for speaking?
We have, the first one is Angela May.
Angela May, please come forward to the podium. And adjust the mic, she might need it adjusted for her. Yeah.
I'm short. Thank you.
All right.
Good e-
Good evening, Ms. May. With the public hearing open, Pitt County welcomes all comments on the Cypress Creek Solar Farm rezoning application. Just state your name, your address, the name of any organization that you may be affiliated with, and you'll have 3 minutes once you begin.
Okay. My name is Angela May. I live at 1424 East Hammerhand Road. I will be a part of the solar farm community that is fixing to come up, which is 941 acres. It is a monster of a solar farm. I do not agree with it, and I have put out a petition, and I've gotten some signatures on that. If you look at your packet that I sent you, once you go through that petition letters, you will see, as Mr. Rose showed you, it's another map. It's a map of all the homes that are going to be impacted in this solar farm. Now, they said they're putting it back 100 feet. 100 feet, do you know how many steps that is? It's 40 steps. We walk that every day. You can walk 40 steps from my property line to a solar panel. So I don't think that's far enough. Also, if you look through your packet, I've also put a map out also of all the solar farms in black that's going to be in that area. Now, to get to the beginning, I personally myself blame Mr. James Rhodes and Cypress Creek. They're the ones he should have, and they should have considered the community, the residents that live in that area that's going to be more affected by it than anybody. Now, I know I don't own, and a lot of other people down there don't own $200,000, $300,000 homes. It probably would have been a different situation, but my home is very valuable to me. It's worth $1 million. You know, it's my home I live in, I sleep in, I eat out of, and I go to church with, I go to my doctor's appointments. You put yourself in my shoes, day in and day out. Would you want to walk out a door that you walk out every day and look at a solar panel farm? Would you like to take your children and let them look at the solar panel farm and say, Mom, Dad, what's this? What's it going to be like? Is it going to hurt me? Because that's the way we all feel like. We're afraid. We're afraid what's going to happen down the road. There's no scientific evidence other than some of the things I've got in the back of my packlet, electromagnetic radiation. People may start having headaches, vision problems, mental health, just mental health in general. You're going to worry. You're going to be frightened. You're going to be like, what's known, what's not known? You're going to look up Google and online all the time. Now, getting to the landowners, you know, I do not blame the landowners for trying to lease out their land. They're going to make a lucrative amount of money. They're looking out for the future of their children and their grandchildren. And the county's going to make a lucrative amount of money also. And it can't be all just about the money. Think about the people that are living down this road that work. I worked at social services. I retired. My husband worked from the sheriff's department. He retired. You know, it's not right. Also, 780,000 people, 17.5% of 2021's workforce, guess what they were? Farm workers. Farm workers. They worked farms for the farmers. Just put yourself in my shoes tonight when you go to vote. How would you feel? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
John Eskew.
Mr. Askew, you may adjust the mic if you like, and if you're speaking for a group.
Good evening, Pitt County Board of Commissioners. My name's John Eskew. I work for Cypress Creek Renewables here on behalf of Grifton Solar. Just to take a quick second, I'm an associate project developer, been working at Cypress Creek for about 3 years and been in the solar space for about 5. I've got my colleagues Mike and Nicole here as well, both project developers on our team, along with our counsel, Colin Tarrant, our professional engineer, Chris Sandifer, and Nick Kanzler, a certified property appraisal expert here in North Carolina. We've developed over 200 projects here in North Carolina. At Cypress Creek, we've been developing small-scale projects that has now shifted into the large-scale projects you're seeing today. One thing I do want to note on the conditional rezoning of roughly 940-some acres, we're only expecting about, sorry?
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you speaking for a group?
Sorry?
Are you speaking for a group or just?
We were going to make the rest of our group available for questions, if that works. Or they can come up and,
If you're speaking for a group, we have a different time. That's what I wanted to make sure that you are giving.
I believe he is speaking for the applicant.
yes, I am, yes, I'm
Yeah,
here
you're
on
the
behalf of the applicant. We have our,
He's representing the applicant.
and there's experts here that can testify to more technical questions, anything about property values, anything from a legal standpoint. We have kind of support as needed.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, sounds great. So, yeah, just to speak to the size of the project, it's going to be about 520 acres of solar, 580 acres of disturbance of that 940-some acres. As Ms. Angela May testified to, there were some concerns with the surrounding community. We held a community meeting ahead of the planning board meeting, and that allowed residents to come out, have their voice heard, and see how we can make this project work, not only for Cypress and Pitt County, but for the neighbors. As you heard in Mr. Rhodes' presentation, we, as a result of last month's meeting, we doubled the residential property setback and also doubled the vegetative buffer screening requirement. We submitted a plan to Pitt County showing that essentially this will not be viewable from the surrounding community and therefore will seem very well into the natural landscape.
Did those
Yes.
two things meet two of the concerns that they had?
Yes. So
that they had expressed?
Yes, the biggest thing was view shed, what's going to happen to my back porch view, and, obviously beyond that, just, general safety concerns, which we talked about. We're happy to speak to any of that today. But yes, that directly resulted in the impact to the site plan.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. To date, as far as the community engagement goes, we've met with the Chamber of Commerce of Pitt County Community College today. We were talking about workforce development here in Pitt County. There's a big void in solar kind of resources to operate and maintain these across the state. So we met with the Pitt County Community College today to discuss kind of some potential scholarships for local high schools, getting into kind of the STEM solar space, and also looking into some future long-term workforce development plays if this project were to go through. I will emphasize that this is not guaranteed to go under operation. It has been submitted to Duke as a part of our application. We've showed proof of that. We will know in January if it's been kind of shortlisted of a larger bucket of projects, and then in May of 2024, we will know if it's been fully awarded. At that time, if we're awarded in May, it's a real project. We're going to be breaking ground, if this goes forward, we'll be looking at start of construction in 2027. So this is still a long ways out. Beyond that, so beyond just the solar project, it also could have the potential for battery storage as well. This is the first year that Duke Energy has requested solar proposals to be paired with battery storage. And the battery storage component is essentially a reliability adder. It requires no more land besides a couple acres next to the substation. It allows for that solar energy that peaks during the day to then be discharged to the grid after hours. As we saw last year and Christmas Eve, there were rolling blackouts all across the state. This battery storage energy is specifically designed to shave off those impacts. And that, I'll pause.
Since you were interrupted by one of the commissioners, we'll give you a minute or two if you need it.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I'll kind of wrap up here, but in addition to that, community meeting we held, there was a resident there, Mr. Charles Mills, that told us he lives adjacent across the street from the existing solar farm that's directly west. He said, I've never had a better neighbor than solar. It's quiet, doesn't cause any traffic, no noise, and essentially it doesn't allow for that land to be developed into any other use. Whether it's a huge residential development, the way these leases work is it's a temporary land use on the farmland. If the landowners decide to put that back into agricultural after the usable life of the system, they have every right to do so. And I will pause there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Miller?
Yeah, we can just do questions after public hearing if needed.
Okay. Or Nick Kirkland, same? Chris Sandifer, same? And Colin Tarrant, same. Okay, that concludes
Are there
the
any
list.
more in attendance who would like to speak on this issue? That being not registered, so we close the public hearing. Members of the Board of Commissioners, you have questions? Commissioner Tom Coson.
I have no questions, but everybody on this board knows that I have been against these solar projects. I think they are a time bomb. I have been following these since the 1980s. And while technology has improved, is the land still has heavy metals that get leached out. They'll sell the tomatoes when they redo when they reclaim in the farmland and stuff. They'll sell the tomatoes at half price because of heavy metals. I'm not joking. To poison the land. I wished that between the last times I've complained about this, when I was on a board here, and it came before us before in such a fashion that we had to vote for it. We had no say. Now, things have changed and we do have a say. We can reject it outright or we can accept it. But I wish that you had gone in and proved me wrong. Do the research. Prove that every statement I made in the past was incorrect. I doubt anybody did it. I suspect I will be the only one that votes against this tonight. So, having said that, as you've heard me before.
Anyone else on this board who would like to ask a question or make a statement?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner McLaughlin.
the young lady that spoke earlier, could you stand, please? What's your name again?
Could you come to the podium so that the taping can hear you and the people in the land out there can
How
hear?
many individuals or families do you have here representing?
I have none, sir, because
Do you have any additional names of people who?
I do on a petition, yes, sir.
Okay.
That I
How many of that?
the clerk gave to
I
everyone.
counted them and they came to a total of 25.
And those 25 people you talked with,
Yes, sir.
and they were against this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions of any of the speakers on this issue?
I do have a question,
Commissioner Huggins, Floyd Huggins.
and it may be to Ms. May also.
Come back, please. And I'm sorry to have you running
Yes,
back and
ma'am.
forth.
That's fine. I'm glad to do it.
But I want it recorded, and I want the people in the
Yes,
television
ma'am.
land to hear.
I'm glad to come back up here and answer any questions.
Thank you.
At the community meeting, and I'm hopeful that these residents attended the community meeting with.
Can I just say that talking with everybody, they say it's already in progress and it's going to happen regardless of what they think. I'm the only one that come to voice my opinion. And can I just say one more thing to the
You
commissioners?
responded to her question.
Okay. So when we had the planning board meeting, I was there, and Mr. John Askews called me the night before, and I was telling him about how bad the vegetation and the trees were dying because of the sun taking so much from it and burning it up at the Brown Hodges solar plant. And he told me, he said, Miss May, I had nothing to do with that. I was not the developer for that. Turn around the next night, he told the planning board, they asked him, was he actually a part of that? He said, yes, I was. I was the developer. Now, who do you suppose to believe? I mean, can you believe somebody like him? What is he not else telling us, you know? So, I'm sorry. I am just fully against it. And I think everybody that lives around me, the 90 homes plus, are too. It's just that we don't have the high dollar houses, so we could have been taken out of the equation.
So at the meeting, the resident got no answers that made them feel any better or
No, ma'am.
about the project at all?
No, ma'am, because we feel like we're going to be right up on it where we're located at. Yes, ma'am.
How many attended the meeting?
I know for the planning board meeting, it was probably 8 altogether. And it's like I said, consensus were, it's already in the roll, it's already going to happen, you know. Nobody wanted to come in and voice their opinion. I mean, I told them, I said, they're regular people just like us. They put the clothes on just like us. They need to hear us out. They need to let us know that they hear us.
Were you finished, Commissioner Huggins?
Yes.
Commissioner Ward, were you finished with your?
Fine.
Commissioner Nally, your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question for Cypress Creek.
Cypress Creek.
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Rhodes.
And Mr. Rose?
And Mr. Rhodes, yes.
Okay, all right.
I just wanted to confirm from Mr. Rhodes first that this was a unanimous vote in favor of approval by the planning board?
It was after those conditions were added.
Okay. And I just wanted to, because that's what I heard, that it was, the conditions were added, and after the conditions were added, it was unanimous. I just wanted to hear it again from Cypress Group, what those conditions were and how the project scope and how you saw it being rolled out would conform to those requests that you heard at the public hearing.
Yes, so the day after we got the kind of conditions passed by planning board, or the ones recommended for approval, so immediately we passed those off to our engineering team. We increased the setbacks with our zoning site plan from all residential properties. That's been confirmed with your planning department that those have been completed. And then also we showed the enhanced vegetative screening plan, which not only, because when we came into the planning board, we had heard the concerns of the members that attended at the community meeting. We then proposed an enhanced vegetative plan that was ultimately put into the site plan. So it's doubling the requirement, as you saw, along very key residential properties around the project area, to answer your question.
Okay.
And if I just may, I hate that Ms. May has such an adverse view of me. I do take this job extremely seriously. We did not need to have that community meeting. We went above the ordinance requirements to get people out, and to say we did not hear from the community and impact change, and to say we don't care, I just can't support, stand by there. But this is exactly why we had the community meeting, to make it work for everybody. We've instituted site plan changes that essentially will make the solar farm invisible from the neighboring properties. And we're here, as you see, as I mentioned earlier, we're here to get involved with the community and support it and invest in it. We are by no means trying to push this down anybody's throat. We are here very transparent, trying to educate about solar and to speak to the adjacent solar farm. My manager was the developer on that. It was sold to Pine Gate Renewables. They are a very reputable solar firm just like ours, and they, I'm pretty sure, constructed it. I was not being to steer the board by any means of that nature. I wasn't at Cypress Creek when that project was done. So I'm here now, and we're here to make this work for everybody involved.
Thank you.
Are you finished?
Sounds fine.
Are there any other Commissioner White?
My question is for Mr. Rhodes. Would you say, in your opinion, that Cypress Creek has gone above the minimum requirement after hearing concerns about the setback and the visibility and everything?
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay. And this was approved back in 2020? Initially, a smaller amount, but...
It was.
And a lot of it, part of the land is swampland, correct?
There
Which
are
is-
some drainage issues on that property, yes.
I mean, I'm very pro-agriculture, but at the same time, I have heartburn about telling people what they can and can't do with their property. So that's just kind of my thought where I'm going.
Have you completed your?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other member of the board who has not spoken yet want to ask a question or make any comments? Okay, Commissioner McLaughlin, Ms. Huggin Commissioner Huggin had her signal up before you.
I want to, Ms. Rose, you said there's some drainage problems, so elaborate on that.
Drainage issues, again,
Drainage
it is a very flat piece of property, very little elevation change on that property. There's some large, I think I've shown you on the screen, large drainage canals through there. So with those, there are swaths of land that are under easement, protection of easements. So there's some drainage-related issues there simply because the land has been manually drained based off these large canals being constructed on site. So in that respect, there are some drainage issues. There's also some flood-prone areas just further to the east of here. So this area hasn't had the detailed study that some of the other adjacent properties have that actually show flood-prone areas. But yes, there is drainage issues there.
So would that be bad for the solar farm, or How would that affect?
Well, again, as far as the construction is concerned, there's going to be a necessity to meet all the building code requirements, because these are considered structures. There'll be footings poured, some concrete pads, to ensure that these structures are stable, won't be moved during any type of windstorm or anything like that. So as far as the construction concerned, no, I don't see that the wetness necessarily is going to pose a major issue.
Are you complete,
Yeah.
Commissioner Malahon, your turn?
James, I think you stated that, when would this project be completed? When would it start?
I'll defer back to Mr. Askew about that, as far as some of their
Please join me,
requirements
Mr.
through
Askew,
the public entity that will be purchasing that energy.
What year would this project be?
Yes, so we're anticipating if this project's awarded in 2024, in May, that's when Duke gets back to us, that we'd be starting construction sometime in '27. Takes a long time on the utility side. There's still additional studies that occur after that May milestone.
So you're talking 3 years, or 3 years
Roughly,
away?
yes, sir.
To Miss Angela May, how do you think the residents feel about the conditions that was added to this project? Will that change your mind in terms of the project?
No, sir, it's still not far enough. If you look online, any site will tell you that 1.5 miles is recommendable for residents to be able to come at that far, just because of either health or your mental, or just because, it does create a warmth effect. And so if it's close to our homes, we're gonna feel that warmth effect, so.
Thank you.
Any more questions of the board?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move it.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
I received more than one lengthy comments that I'd like to share with you about a lady who had to go out of town due to a holiday, and she could not change the time. And she was very concerned about young children. And I don't know the impact, but I do know they are a bit special. So I just wanted you to know, I did look to try to find some studies relates to children, and I could not find it. Couldn't remember the correct journal that I wanted to find that would address it one way or the other. But I'm very concerned about children and their growth. So if there are no more questions, I declare that the public hearing is closed.
Madam Chair, can I address that for you?
Yes. Who are you? I'm sorry if I sound a bit blunt, but you're talking, I could hear. I can't see that far. Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Chris Sandifer. I have offices at 3118 Green Road, Spring Hope, North Carolina. Okay. I'm on Nash County Planning Board, and we're meeting tonight, and I'm missing this so I could be with you guys, so thank you for that. I'm a professional engineer. I've been licensed in North Carolina for 35 years or more. I can't even tell you. I'm licensed in another 15 states. I'm an electrical contractor with unlimited classification.
What's your engineering background? Your engineering background is?
It's electrical. I'm a graduate electrical engineer.
Okay.
I worked for Duke for 30 years, and I've been doing solar farms for the last 15. Okay. So I own a farm. I've got 100 acres of panels on my farm, which I intend to leave to my family and my grandchildren. I didn't put anything out there that would cause them any harm. And I want to just state for the record, without any hesitation or equivocation, that the solar farm, the way it's designed, will not materially impact the health and safety of any citizen in this county. And I heard the things about a 1.5 mile. I don't know, that we put them on tops of schools. That's a very lucrative place to put solar farms, because the counties can offset their utility bills. People put them on top of their houses. The county's already approved 100 feet from the setback from the panels to the residents. So I just would say that the background EMF, the electromagnetic fields for the earth that cause the compass needle to point north is about 10 times what you would see if you were at the boundary of this project, and you used, it would be the electromagnetic radiation of this project would be 1/10 what the background is from the this natural to the earth. I don't understand. One other thing about the heavy metals, these panels weigh approximately 100 pounds, and it's in kilograms, but there's 7 grams of lead encapsulated in the solder used to make the electrical connection. All that lead is equal to about the top 3 inches of soil that occurs in the soil as it is right now. That's, in other words, just what occurs in the soil is about, so we're not, one shotgun shell, let me put it that way, one shotgun, somebody went out there and shot a shotgun with 1 ounce of lead in it, or 1 ounce and a quarter, it would be equivalent to 10 panels. And the little bit of solder that we have in the panels is encapsulated in solder, and it's between 2 layers of plastic and 2 layers of glass. It's not free in the environment. It cannot leach out. These panels go through a toxic characteristic leach procedure, and they are safe to put in landfills. That's not what's going to happen. They're way too valuable. You won't put them in the landfill, but they could be put in a Class 2 landfill without any problem. So I'll just say they're safe. I don't see any problem with them. I've got them. I've installed them. I removed them. I designed them. So if you've got any questions about health and safety, I'm here for you.
Thank you. I was concerned, you were the only one that mentioned the electromagnetic in any of the articles I find, and I just know how to do research, but I couldn't find the impact that it would have on a child, and I know that they are still in the growing stages, and I could not find that. So I'm not certified to answer or make any assessment as it relates to that, but I could not find the impact of the child.
But it's hard to find something that doesn't exist.
Okay.
So if something doesn't exist, it's really hard to find evidence for it. So that's the difficulty we're having finding it, because there's been no study ever that shows there's an impact.
Thank you. I declare that this public hearing is closed. Closed.
I just wanted to answer your question.
Are you prepared to make a motion? Board member, do you feel like you need to discuss it further, or what is your pleasure?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the consistency statement and approve the request.
Did you get that, Madam Clerk? Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Ward. Is the board ready to vote? So, that being said, let's vote. Your motion failed, Mr. Nunley. This board has, what happens now determines to how we're gonna address it. Is there anything that we can do other than that this motion has failed? So we'll move on to.
Madam Chair, the motion has failed, and move on to the next agenda item.
That's what I was gonna do. Items for report. We have Ms. Kimberly Mack. Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you all this evening? My name is Kim Mack, and I'm the District Director for Congressman Don Davis. And I'm coming to you tonight to give you a congressional update on what's been happening almost the first half of the year with our office. As you all know, our office is in Pitt County, 1710 East Arlington Boulevard. And I also have with me tonight Miss Kayla Cornett. She is a graduating senior from East Carolina University, majoring in political science. She can wave to be recognized. And I also have with me Rayanne Kirby, and she is our newest staff assistant. And she also is from this area as well. She's a native of Pitt County, and she graduated from South Central High School. So she could just raise her hand to be recognized. So, first slide, please. Or do I have it here?
I think Mr. Rose has
Is this it?
done something to make it happen for you.
Okay, here we go. So, as you all know, that the 1st Congressional District consists of 19 counties, and as we've mentioned, Pitt County is one of the 19 counties. And we are continuously working for you. The Congressional Office is nonpartisan, and we provide the following services. Let me begin with casework. Each congressional office has a designated casework team that acts as a liaison between the constituents of the district and federal agencies to work through whatever issues they are facing. We are a neutral third party in the process. Caseworkers cannot advocate or change a particular outcome or decision. Some of the wait periods for responses can be as long as 30 to 90 days, but federal agencies are required to respond to us. Since opening our office in January, we have closed 739 cases. Of those 739 cases, 132 of those cases are from Pitt County. We have had some success stories with our casework, one of which was here in Pitt County, where a resident had lost a parent, and their parent was also a veteran. And there was a technical error or oversight, and the case of a claim was closed. And we were able to have that claim reopened, and her son, or the deceased son, from the congressional inquiry was able to obtain $34,732 that was owed to his deceased parent. In addition to that, we've also had cases where we've worked with local towns, and we've been able to help them with grants. We've been able to help save money, particularly veterans. Claims are probably one of our most popular ones, what a lot of people are coming to the office for. But we also have been able to help with expedite passports, because a lot of people have traveled but may not have had all their passport details worked out. So that's just some of the things that we've done in terms of casework. The constituent outreach, some of you may have met either myself or we have 2 other regional directors that are on staff that are out in the community, and they're meeting with people as well as they're meeting with towns. And we also participate in many of the events that happen in the communities. In addition to that, we have congressional opportunities for youth. Congressional opportunities for youth consist of a number of different things. For example, we have internships for college students, Kayla being one of them. We've had 2 district interns that have been in our office, but as well as the office in Washington, D.C. We also have the Congressional Art Challenge, which takes place in the spring of every year. And our first place winner actually was from Pitt County. So in addition to that, we have the Service Academy nominations, as well as we also have the App Challenge, which both of those we're in the process now of going through. So there are a number of activities that we have for college as well as high school students that are in our office. Condemnations and greetings, we have an opportunity for many of those. We like to celebrate people when they're having anniversaries and milestones, but we also assist when there are condolences as well. If somebody reaches the office and they're asking for us to submit a letter of condolence, as well as we've also recognized a number of people throughout the district that are over 100 years old. So those have been great milestones. In addition to that, we also have flag requests as well as federal grant assistance. So many people come to our office and they ask for assistance, whether they're looking for a grant to particularly fund a project or initiative that they have going on. We're able to help them connect with grant opportunities. They are also asking for letters of recommendation for grants that they provide, and we'll write a letter of recommendation. Excuse me. The congressman will write a letter of recommendation regardless of whether it's a federal grant, state grant, foundation. If you let us know, we have the details, we'll be happy to submit a letter of reference on your behalf. And then the constituent representation in Congress, of course, is the congressman's work that he provides for the constituents in DC. Here are some of the ways that we have been able to have, the congressman has been able to have direct constituent contact through town halls. We had a number of town halls. We had one here in Pitt County on the Farm Bill earlier this year. Telephone town halls, we've had 2 of those, and those town halls has had over 8,000 people on the line. Listening sessions, roundtables, tours, where the tours may be visiting industries, maybe visiting nonprofit organizations, and maybe visiting healthcare facilities. As well as we have a newsletter that comes out from our office, text and call. Just last week, we had text messages that went out for veterans for them to be able to contact us if they needed any services. We also provide virtual seminars. For example, with community project funding, we were able to have seminars for people to be able to ask questions before their materials were submitted, as well as other community service and outreach that we're out in the community. Legislative updates. The congressman is the vice-ranking member of the House Agriculture Committee, vice-ranking member of the House Armed Services Subcommittee on Readiness. He's introduced 8 pieces of legislation, 6 of which was bipartisan, co-sponsored over 150 pieces of legislation. More than 100 are bipartisan. He's co-led 21 pieces of legislation. And he's one of the most bipartisan freshmen with 85% bipartisan record on co-sponsorships and a Democratic co-chair of the Bipartisan Agriculture Working Group. Also wanted to share an update on the appropriations and the community project funding. As you know, a lot has been happening in DC. If you've been staying in tune with what was happening or things that are going on in the news. But I wanted to share that on November the 14th, Congressman Davis voted to prevent a government shutdown. Congressman Davis voted for H.R. 6363, the Further Continuing Appropriations and Other Extensions Act 2024, a 2-step continuing resolution to prevent a federal government shutdown. The continuing resolution will extend current funding for the federal government in 2 tiers, extending funding for 4 appropriation bills through January the 19th, 2024, and extending funding for the remaining 8 bills until February the 2nd, 2024. The measure will also extend the current Farm Bill through September 2024 to allow for additional bipartisan negotiations to finalize a new Farm Bill. Congressman Davis remains steadfast and standing up for the people of North Carolina's 1st Congressional District. And his vote for the continuing resolution shows exactly that. A government shutdown have severe consequences, disrupting essential services and causing undue hardship for many families in the East. Congressman Davis believes we must act responsibly and take the necessary steps to avert a government shutdown, which we have done. The government shutdown would directly impact 6,700 federal workers, 46,000 veterans, and 174,000 seniors in the North Carolina's 1st Congressional District who rely on life-saving government services. In terms of CPF projects, we did have a CPF project for the Greenville Police Department, which has preliminarily been approved, but is part of the appropriation bill that has not yet passed in the House.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have much patience.
Huh?
Thank you. Is that the end of it?
No.
Well, I want it to be.
Okay, well, I was going to
come
give
to
you
a decent close. How about that?
Okay, well, can you come forward? Because we wanted to give you a presentation. And that was how we were ending our presentation.
Now, this is a surprise.
Ma'am?
I didn't know anything about this.
Well, just a few weeks ago, the town of Bethel celebrated its 150th anniversary. And we wanted to present you with a copy of the congressional record, since it also includes you and it lists your name. But for sake of time, I won't read it, but I will present it.
This is a surprise. Let's make it quick. Yes, Ms. Boone, though I'm short-tempered.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Be sure to tell the congressman thanks.
Yes.
It's my first time ever getting everything working. All right, we're going on with our next agenda item. Ms. Burgess.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and Manager Gallagher. Tonight, I bring you the October 2023 financial report for the General Fund, Solid Waste Fund, and the EMS Fund. We are 4 months into the fiscal year, or 33.3% of the year. For the General Fund, we have collected 42.3% of anticipated revenues and spent 29.7% of budgeted expenditures. Solid waste, we have collected 54.8% and spent 25.7%. EMS, we have collected 49.3% and spent 33.7%. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, it's my recommendation for a motion to approve the monthly financial report as presented.
Do we have a motion on this?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
White, second by Commissioner McGowan. Let's vote, please. Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Yes, Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill, I think you have two items.
Yes, ma'am.
Just stay in place.
All right. Good evening. This evening, I bring to you the October 2023 collection report. The Pitt County fiscal year to date, July 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2023, combined collection rate for real and personal property was 65.03%. The combined collection rate 1 year ago for real and personal property was 66.71%. The Pitt County Tax Administration continues to pursue all outstanding taxes using the necessary remedies available through the North Carolina General Statutes. If there are no questions, it's my recommendation the board approve the October 2023 collection report.
We need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner McGowan, second by Commissioner White. Let's vote, please. Madam Clerk, unanimous. Next, please.
For my second item tonight, I just wanted to give the board a brief update on the 2024 reappraisal.
Okay.
The 2024 schedule of values have been, that the board adopted in September, had a 30-day window after your adoption to be appealed by the public. That time has closed, and no one has appealed that to the Property Tax Commission, so that particular process is finalized. In January, I reported that I was monitoring 3 market conditions for the upcoming 2024 reappraisal. One of those was the parcel count. At the time of my January report, Pitt County had roughly around 78,009 parcels. Currently, we have 79,458 parcels, which is an increase of about 1,500 parcels over the last 10 months, 10 to 11 months. Also reported I was looking at the North Carolina Department of Revenue sales ratio report. That report is the one that looks at our current assessments compared to what properties are currently selling for. I had reported that I was expecting that to be around 72%. In April, we got that final report. It was actually, and we want that to be as close to 100% as possible. That report came in at 69.62%. And we also was monitoring, I was been looking at the median home sales prices as published in the Shackelford report. In January, I reported that the median home sales price was $250,000. As of October, in their last report published, that number was up to I think it was $69,000. So that was that has gone up about 8% as well over the last 8 months. As the tax assessor, I'm statutorily required to set all real property values at 100%. Based off of the 3 market indicators that I'm monitoring, I believe that one, Pitt County is continuing to grow, if we look at the parcel count, and two, our current assessed real estate properties are somewhere between 30 to 50% low based off of the indicators that we're looking at. We have not finalized any numbers. We're still continuing to work through those. We are expecting to have the reappraisal notices out in February. That will start that informal appeal process for the public. And once those notices have been mailed, I will start providing the budget estimates for fiscal year 24-25 so that the board will have hopefully plenty of time to decide, take everything into consideration, and decide on what the tax rate that they will need to adopt for the upcoming fiscal year. Tonight, I'm not requesting any motions from the board. This was just a report so that you would be aware of the what we're seeing, and if I have taken any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Tax Person, for your expeditious report. Did I smile here say they had a question over here? Oh, okay.
Madam Chairman, may I say something briefly?
Yes, of course, by all means.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out of thanks and appreciation to Russell and the entire tax team. They have been working very, very diligently this year to work through those 80,000 parcels to bring market value. He's done it with short staff, and he has exemplified exceptional leadership in motivating his team to get the work done in time, and so I thank you, Russell.
We thank you.
Thank you.
And she had a smile on her face. You may be seated.
Thank you.
It's good to hear good things about one. Madam Manager, your report.
Yes, I have a short report for you this evening. Your next meeting dates, December 4th and December 18th at 6 p.m. in this room. Wanted to recognize the passing of former Commissioner Edith Warren. Included information to the board about that. She was, as you may know, the first female county commissioner on this board. She was the first female principal in Pitt County Schools, and she was one of the first from Pitt County with Mary McGlowhorn to enter the General Assembly. She left an incredible legacy. Her memorial service was on Saturday, and I wanted to publicly recognize and express sincere sympathy and condolences to her family and thank her for the impact that she had in this community, and remind the board that you did send an arrangement to the services on Saturday. I also want to recognize the passing of Randy Walter from the Farmville community. He passed earlier this week, and you may recall Randy from serving on various boards, including Pitt Community College Foundation, Pitt Community College Board of Trustees, and the Industrial Development Commission, among others areas within our community. Also a leader who left an incredible legacy, and offer the same condolences and sympathies to his family. And then on a celebratory note, item C is to assure that the full board is aware that after 35 years of service with Pitt County government, James Rhodes will be retiring.
We need to get a rope so we can tie him to a chair.
Effective, his last day will be February 29th. His retirement is effective May 1st. He has not stopped smiling since he gave his retirement notice.
I mean, he needs to wipe that smile off his face.
And of course, our deep appreciation for James's service, and we'll continue to work him hard until March 1st, while he's here.
Thank you so much for your service.
All that I have in my report.
35 years. I tell you, this county will never be without you. And I'm glad you're staying here and paying your taxes. Thank you so much for your service.
That's all that I have.
All right. Items for consent. Who's making the motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Nunley, second by Commissioner Ward. Let's vote. Items for decision. Subdivision street improvement. Mr. Rose, is that smile still on your face? Lordy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's been a fun year, right? Okay. So we do have a request before you tonight. This is something that many of you have dealt with previously. This is one of those cases where there are subdivision streets that have been dedicated for public right-of-way, but for various reasons, the developer is no longer available or able to actually maintain the streets, to bring them up to a certain state of repair for DOT to maintain them in perpetuity. So this deals with Oak Hill East subdivision. We have our policy, it's included in your package tonight. There's also general statutes that support this, where the developer isn't available, that the county can basically loan funding for these roads to be brought up to standard and DOT take them over. And of course, we get money recouped through an assessment process on all the affected property owners. So we have been working for quite a while. I believe some of the residents are here tonight from Oak Hill. We had a meeting back earlier this year about different aspects. Certainly, if we're trying to bring these roads up to DOT standards, DOT's intimately involved. They provided a punch list of items that need to be addressed. It's also a petition process, and I'll speak to that in just a minute. We've also received more recently an updated punch list, very minimal changes, and just for your information, we're looking at something smaller than what we dealt with in the other two projects we've worked on. This one is only about a little over $50,000 is now estimated to bring these roads up to standard in this subdivision. So this is the subdivision. It's located off Portertown Road. As of today, and these petitions, thanks to our legal staff, they've reviewed the petitions yet again today. We meet the two thresholds that have to be met, the 75% property owners that have signed the petitions, as well as those that have signed covering at least 75% of the road frontage that we're dealing with. Both of those criteria have been met. So with that, if you agree to our recommendations tonight, this is your project schedule. It is not a short process. It'll take pretty much a year to go through this. Your authorization tonight, if you agree to such, will move forward with soliciting proposals from qualified contractors over the next month, and then a public hearing would be required for your final assessment resolution in January. We'd award the contract in February. Typically, you won't do much paving activity until the springtime, so that's where we have several months allocated for the contractor to do that work. NCDOT will have to inspect, go through that process, and then finally, to recoup the funds, there's an assessment roll that has to be had, as well as a public hearing again to wrap everything up. That pretty much accounts to a whole year. So with all that said, there's several motions for you tonight. Number one, authorize the use of the repayment funds from the previous projects. Sam has indicated that we've recouped more than enough funds already based off the cost estimate to fund this project, and he's holding that in a special account. Also, adopt the preliminary assessment resolution that's in your package tonight that provides some details about this project. Set your January 8th public hearing date for the final assessment resolution, and then authorize staff to move forward with soliciting those proposals for the paving. With that, Madam Chair, that's what we have to offer on this project. Welcome any questions.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Can somebody make a motion to approve all four
You
at
can
one time?
indeed.
I will do that.
Second.
All right, let's vote.
James, you sure you don't want to get 4 decades in with us?
You get what?
4 decades, 35, sure?
Unanimous, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, if I may, I just
Sure.
want to recognize that I believe there are folks from the neighborhood who are present this evening, just to recognize that they took time out of their evening to come forward in support of this as well.
So you do know what's just happened, right?
We understand, yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next one. Sheriff's Office. No, it ain't. I'm skipping. Mr. Crooms, I'm sorry.
That's
How
fine.
can I miss such a handsome man?
Well, good evening again. I am bringing you an item for decision on this sale of county-owned properties located at 604 McKinley Avenue, 1206 Battle Street, and 909 Imperial Street. On September 11th, 2023, the board voted to post 4 properties on GovDeals, and now I bring 3 of these properties back to you after meeting all the legal requirements using the electronic auction method. Pitt County received the following bids as of the closing date of November 10th, 2023. On 604 McKinley Avenue, we received a bid of $1,525. On 1206 Battle Street, we received a bid of $3,681. On 909 Imperial Street, we received a bid of $3,025. The property located at 1503 South Pitt Street, we did not receive a bid. The board can accept these 3 offers and start generating revenue on them, or you can reject the bids and re-advertise.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I move to accept.
Second.
5 of them moved to accept those bids.
And include the authorization of the chairwoman to sign the deed.
That's correct.
Also needs to be added.
Let's vote, please. So we'll have some more taxes coming in from Mr. Hill. It was unanimous, Madam Clerk. The next item for the, is number 3, Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Paula Dance. First time I seen her appeal to this board without a uniform on.
Yeah, I do put on some clothes every now and then. Good evening, Madam
Good
Chairman
evening,
and
Ms. Sheriff.
Commissioners. First, let me introduce, so that you all can put a face with the name.
All right.
My business manager, Molly Plount.
Ooh.
She has taken Ernest Moore's position at my office, so I did want to introduce her tonight.
Thank you for your respect of introducing her.
Thank you. I'm before you tonight for a request for consideration of replacement for our communications system. And I'm just going to outline some of the reasons why it's necessary to replace this equipment. Number 1, it is at the end of life. Our current system is roughly 10 years old and is in urgent need of replacing. In North Carolina, communication systems are typically replaced every 4 to 5 years. The vendor states that the current maintenance is on a best effort basis as it stands now.
Ms. Sheriff, may I do something unusual? We strongly support this effort. You all have read your packet. Can we get a motion to approve this?
So moved.
We got a motion by Commissioner McGlohorn, second by Commissioner Colson. Let's vote on this. You know, this meeting is sort of long too. I voted, but my thing ain't picking up.
Do we have an amount of money on this?
Yep.
Is it in?
Yes.
Yep.
I looked and I couldn't find it.
Yes, and I will just say, kudos to the sheriff's office for negotiating with Motorola to get the price down to its lowest point. And so initial numbers came down much lower, and it's about 1.3 million would be the max, and they'll continue to work to make it as cost-effective as possible.
Job well done.
Thank you.
Top of the line team playing. It's unanimous, Madam Clerk. You may be seated, Mrs. Sheriff, and your assistant. Oh, we're so happy.
Very convincing.
Number 4, Ms. Gallagher.
Yes.
And then after we have this, we will get the commissioner's comment before we go into closed session. Did everybody understand? So you can stay a little bit longer.
It's been being recommended that Mr. Wes Gray be appointed to the Pitt County Farm and Food Council as the Health Director Representative, and that Ms. Mary Worsley be appointed as the Faith Community Representative, both to serve full terms expiring November 6, 2026.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner McGlohorn, second by Commissioner White. Let's vote on this. Madam Clerk, unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll start from Commissioner Colson, for your comment.
James, I hope you enjoy retirement better than I did.
Commissioner Floyd Haggins.
I would like to bring to this board's attention and offer condolences to our fellow commissioner from Wake County, Dr. James West, passed.
That's a surprise for me.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
It was sent out. Notice was sent out.
I'd be so busy for Thanksgiving. I'm sorry.
So I'd just like to, this board offer condolences to
We
Wake
didn't
County
know, I'm
Commissioners.
sorry. We will.
Just want to tell James, Mr. Rose, congratulations on his retirement. You will be missed, and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. McLaughlin.
I just want to congratulate James Rose, my good friend. When you have the party, please invite me.
Mr. Commissioner Smith.
I will echo the congratulations and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. Commissioner Nunley.
Would like to thank Planner Rhodes, Assistant Manager Rhodes. You know, I think it goes without saying that Pitt County is in a position to continue to develop in a really, really good way, due in large part to your leadership in the planning department. So thank you so much for your leadership over the years. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Commissioner Holloman.
Very good. Congratulations on retirement, and make that 2 invitations to the party.
Commissioner Ward.
No comment, except it won't be the same ever. Thank you.
So in this party we're gonna have, can I do the roast?
Oh, yes, indeed. I bet you it'll be a dinger.
You didn't ask for an invitation, so we'll see.
Well, Mr. Rose, we will miss you. It has been a pleasure being a part of seeing your work. And we look forward to you coming back to work on March the 1st. Thank you so very much for all you do for the citizens of Pitt County, and thank you for what you do for everything. At this time, we will go into closed session for an item of personnel matters. Mr. Lawyer Brian, Mr. Rhodes retiring has just got me.
I understand.
Budget.
Madam Chairperson, I'm not sure if we have proper notice for a closed session. I did not.
Well, we're going to talk about a personnel matter. The board has voted to put a personnel matter on this agenda, and it was a unanimous item, so we will go into a closed session.
Well, I've been on the board almost 20 years, and we've never had a time when a commissioner that wanted to have a closed session was not granted, regardless of notice.
Then we will go into closed session. I'm not sure which provision of the closed session law, because I don't know what the matter is. Was it 118?
It's a personnel matter, and we
C6?
normally don't
Personnel
tell
matter.
what the personnel matter. This is what we normally do for personnel matter. We just tell the general public that's sitting out there in that audience of great beyond that we are going into a personnel matters, and personnel matters are confidential, discussed by this board.
And so be it.
So could you please read the lingo for personnel matter?
Madam,
Make the comment read the thing for personnel matter.
We are a motion has to be made to go into closed session.
Motion by Commissioner Nunley, second by Commissioner Ward, and let's vote since he wants the motion. This is the same people who made it initially, and we are all voting. Melvin McLaughlin, please vote. Commissioner McLaughlin. So we have 8 yeses and 1 no, Madam Clerk. Please record this in your records. Motion for old session. We've done the motion for old session.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to terminate the county attorney, Brian Wardell, effective immediately, because this board is dissatisfied with the level of service provided. We also direct county manager and HR director to deliver a termination letter by 9 a.m. tomorrow unless the county attorney resigns beforehand.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Commissioner
Colson.
Colson. All in favor, let it be known by voting.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand. Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Will, HR Director, please record it. It was the motion made by Commissioner Nunley, second by Commissioner Colson, and, we voted unanimous. May we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Holloman, second by Commissioner White. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passed unanimous to adjourn.